We've been together for a while now, and I just want to take a step back and say thanks for bearing with us. This is a ton of information. You've learned how to create some really cool features using the Google Maps APIs, using a drawing layer, making unique styles, showing users distances and directions, and getting back detailed places of interest information.
You may be wondering what this is. Well, it's Google's gift to you, and we'll show you. It's the keys to the castle. You see, now that you know how to use them, the Google Maps APIs are yours to use for free.
In the next few lessons, we'll go over some important practical details you need to know while flexing your creative muscles and using location services and visualizations in your sites.
So far, you've been using the API keys you generated in the very beginning of the course to access most of the functionality we've covered. You've also already enabled the APIs that we've used so far. We're going to go over the other important things that you can and should be doing within the Google Developers Console now that you're a pro.
The first thing you should be aware of is the ability to monitor the usage of your API key. You should know that there is an allotted number of what we call map loads that you can use as a free user. Every time you load a Google map using the initialize function that we've seen to create a map object, you use one map load. You have more than enough quota to experiment freely and develop apps. See the documentation linked in the instructor notes for up-to-date amounts. You can see how many you use over time within the Developers Console, and we'll practice that soon.
Next, in order to increase the security of your API key, you can whitelist domains which are able to use it. For example, after making my site, I could whitelist emilysnychoushunters.com. And then that will be the only site that can make requests using that key. When making requests using that API key, they'll go through. If any other domain, like ajsnychoushunters.com, attempts to do so, they would get an error. That way, nobody accidentally starts to use my key, using up all of my map loads. Or not so accidentally. It's always important to protect yourself. Quota theft is not a common occurrence, but we care about security here.
Now, as I said, there is a fair amount of quota given for free. Most websites and applications will stay within this. However, if you consistently generate a high amount of traffic, usage limits apply and you'll need to pay for extra usage. You can do this by enabling billing within the Developers Console. You can also choose to put an enforced cap on your usage to make sure you don't go over a certain limit. See the documentation in the instructor notes for how to do this.
The next thing to be aware of has to do with using the services, both client and server side. In general, there are two types of caps that we have on service usage. Queries per day, also known as QPD, which is the total number of requests made in one day, and queries per second, or QPS, which, as it sounds, is the number of requests made in 1 second. The developer documentation has specifics on the limitations for each web service. Remember how we talked about web service response codes before?
Right. We wanted that OK response. If you ever see the over query limit response code, it means you've hit one of these QPD or QPS limits. Now, try logging into the Google Developers Console and viewing your project's usage so far.